Well, hello, and thanks so much for joining me today. I hope it wasn't inconvenient because we've come quite a long way. We're actually here in Geneva. We decided we needed to come over and actually deal with the situations that aren't being addressed in Ireland, in England, anywhere. Doesn't matter where you talk about it, whether you're in the highest echelons of your government or whether you're in the pub. There is no word seems to be acknowledged by the people who are controlling things from here. So we've come over to deal with it. What would you say the most immediate situation is?
Well, as you said, Francis, the governments from our countries are not listening, right?
Nope.
Letters have been filed, people have
umpteen letters.
Notices in, there's court cases, there's court cases going on, there's so many different things happening, but there's no
results.
It's not actually changing anything.
And as all this stuff is happening, it's getting worse,
Getting worse and getting closer to the time when it's going to become international law, which is obviously what happens at the end of May, is the World Health Organization come out and say, you all decided that we were very happy with the plan, with the amendments for the international health regulations. We're really happy with the plan for the treaty, so it's all going ahead. And actually, there's no consensus at all. But one thing that has really made me happy today is that you've come with the news that Simon Coveney has stepped down. Now, in 2014, he brought out this powerful piece in the newspaper saying, whistleblowers must be protected. And sure enough, we brought our first whistleblowing case, and it was called a Protected Disclosure Act, actually is what they called it in Ireland. Didn't protect anybody at all. Although there was 300 pages of evidence, she still had to end up paying all the court fees, all the whatever random number they put on their lawyers. And Simon Coveney, we eventually had to go and get a different lawyer. And in the office, there was Simon Coveney on the telly going, he was in one of these meat factories with a contingent of Chinese agricultural ministers saying, look at our robust food safety systems, when he knew that we had 300 pages of evidence of horse meat, 5 species in one meat sample, green beef, just disgusting cruelty and very, very sick. The list goes on. So I've loathed him with a passion, and I know it's all about love.
We all did.
But we all did. And so he stepped down. And this for a little bit makes me think that these notices are working, because it just might be that when enough people write to you and say you are personally liable, that you think to yourself, I need to get out of Dodge now while I can.
Exactly, You see, but they're all hiding behind their roles, the way you have this new lad coming in at the moment, and they keep what's his name? What's that new fella? The young lad.
Harris.
Right, so
is he one of the
Simon Harris, right? So you have him coming in, but they never call him Simon Harris. They always call him the Taoiseach, the next Taoiseach or the Taoiseach, because they're taking that weight off the living man. There's no comeback on it. You get me?
That's why they call it in waiting.
In waiting.
That's like a lady in waiting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. But Simon Coveney was the one who pushed this referendum that we have coming up in ERA at the moment, and it's the patent, the
UPC, which is the Universal
Patent
Courts. Now, it's interesting because in Geneva, and one of the courts that we're going to be talking to at the appeal court is the patent court. And one of the main problems, obviously, with the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty is that they have all these really dangerous, unregulated, untrialed, and, even if they are trialled, only the people who produce them and want to sell them get to trial them, because all the active ingredients, all the process, any regulation is actually prohibited by them being protected by patents. So that's one side of it. In addition, they all, I don't know if you've noticed, they're all funded publicly through education and through taxes and everything else, and yet all those inventions are then patented, and they're
more
called
control.
See, it's
more control, and
that's
they're
what it
also
is.
military, and they say they're a danger. They could fall into the wrong hands.
Well,
could they have fallen into any
for
worse?
Ireland, for ERA to join this UPC, right?
What does that mean?
We wouldn't own
We
anything.
have to. No, what happens is we'd have to have a change in our constitution. So our constitution will have to be ratified, changed in order for us to join them. But what we'd be basically doing is just giving over more power, more of our sovereignty.
Which to Europe?
And we'd be given that jurisdiction over.
So we'd actually have
So
to
it's,
change
Article 1, 5 and 6 is what the ones
Well, you
that
wrote
we'd
down.
be the ones
So-
they're the ones that we'd be that'd be affecting us through
so
this
we
UPC
we
thing.
wouldn't be
But
a
for
sovereign,
people-
independent democratic state
Well,
anymore.
No.
they're to be taken that not that we wouldn't be, but it'd be just a step closer for this WHO and this European Union coming in on top of us, and
so
taking what little bit we have left. Well, I know.
are you saying that patents are when somebody has invented something?
Yeah.
And in the past they would have been in Ireland, and so royalties or some sort of protection or financial legacy would stay in Ireland, whereas now they're going to be passed in France.
They want to run it and have it. There's actually 25 EU countries that have joined it already,
Right.
since 2014 or 2013, I'm nearly sure, but 25 countries have joined that, so they're trying to push it on us now in order for us to do it. But again, if we do that, we'll have to change our constitution, and we'd be just giving up more of our freedoms, more of our sovereignty, and more power to this WHO.
Really? So I don't know if people really understand the implications. So what's the worst that could happen, for your average Joe?
Well, you're probably not going to see anything, to be honest with you.
Because it'll all be hidden,
Right,
even more hidden.
Yeah,
More discreet. Yeah.
Right, so look at the way we are now. Someone asked me this the other day, Darren, what's going to change if they do get a on this? And I said, so what's different anyway? Look at the way we're being treated in our own countries.
Yes.
Look at the way our
Second-
governments are
second
treating
class.
us. Yeah, look at the way our governments are treating us, and the way that they're treating the, I suppose the best way, financial immigrants. That's what they are. Immigrants. And we're being replaced in each of our countries.
That's a good one.
Well, there is definitely this replacement thing going on, and that's going on a microbiological level as well, because they want to bring in gene drives and replace whole species.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
But this is relevant as well because we don't know the half of it. Basically, the rule of thumb should be if they ask you to do something, just do the absolute opposite, because they have an agenda so dark, it's absolutely shocking. And for example, when I was planning to come, and we were thinking what's happening that's important, and all of us three have corrected our status. So that means that we are we've gone back beyond the corporate understanding of who we are, and this is an instrument of law. Being a woman, being a man, it's not like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a man. It's just an area of law that needed to be tidied up.
It means you're not a slave anymore.
Yeah, it means you've absolutely opted out of that enslavement. And so I looked up, it said, oh, there's a treaty happening today. And I was like, well, no one knows about this. And it was a treaty to take men and women out of the Rome Statute, which is the human rights, and I'm not sure what else. They're going to make it a hate crime, a war against humanity, no, a crime against humanity to describe yourself as a biological woman or a biological man. And,
you see all what's happening in Scotland at the
crazy.
moment, with the way they brought the hate speech laws in over there. And,
hate speech, and they've
it's
brought...
kind of backfired on them a lot,
So what would that consist of? What would I have to say in Scotland now
Well, it would
to
be just to misgender me. If you said to me, or I said to you,
Or
If I insisted on calling you Darren when you want to be called Dahlia.
or
Or
I
if
said
you
to
say
you, you know,
her when it's when
Sir,
they want to be him
ma'am,
or something like that.
you know, Miss, Mister.
Oh yes, and the teacher that was
Yeah.
thrown out.
Yeah.
Something about pronouns.
But the thing is that what they do is they say we need to deal with this. This could affect our Christian values, or this could affect all our beliefs, or everything we hold dear. This isn't a half of it. No matter what we hold dear, we're so far removed from what we hold dear at this stage.
It's mad, like.
It's just that they want us to. They've got some plan. Now, if you couple that bit of information about taking biological man and woman definition out, and then because it might offend the trans, and then look at the Supreme Court hearing in America that said that vaccinated people are no longer human, they are transhuman.
Or subhuman.
Well, the transhuman, well, exactly, but transhuman was important because then if we're looking at trans as something that is related to being vaccinated and trans as being something that isn't a crime against humanity, whereas being a man or woman is, look at the way that artificial intelligence and everything else can set us against each other. And also look at our jurisdiction.
They
Both.
also, because they're sub or trans,
Yeah.
they're no longer human,
Yeah.
and therefore they don't have any rights anymore.
But
Basically, you haven't got human rights.
nobody has any rights. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No,
Last
but now they
Friday,
definitely don't have any.
yeah, they've proven, they are wanting to prove, and this is so key, they're wanting to prove that this is corporate law, and then here's everybody else. Whereas in real life, in the truth, the absolute opposite.
Total opposite, isn't it? Yeah.
That under God there is man and woman, then there's governments, public servants, corporations aren't in there at all. But with these two movements, just those two movements behind closed doors, don't worry about it, it's just your Christian values, and no one really feels that strongly about the Christian values, not even sure what our Christian beliefs are at this stage. And it's nothing to do with that. It's because it's a matter of jurisdiction. Soon we won't be able to go into a court, a common law court, and say I'm arriving as a living woman. Oh, are you indeed? Well, in that case, you are. You know, you're criminalised yourself. So
Exactly.
it is important. So whatever they say that patenting is going to do for us, just know that what is it? Foreign direct investment. They pass millions of trillions through Ireland every year.
Oh, big
Ireland
bucks,
Inc. This is.
Yeah. Ireland Incorporated.
And
Republic
Emer
of Ireland,
gets nothing.
No.
Not a thing. And
We
so
were saying this morning about Emer being one of the richest countries in Europe. I think it actually is the richest country in Europe, but yet the people are so
poor.
unbelievable. Like the amount of poverty is sickening. Like,
It's desperate. And you know, even in Dublin, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, we have to stop here and admire the Alps because that is extraordinary.
Isn't it gorgeous, yeah?
The sun has just come out. It's a dreamscape.
Wow.
So wish
Gorgeous.
us luck, because if this appeal goes in, and it's already gone in, because I registered post it before I set off, this is over 100 pieces of work that's gone in.
Yeah, I think it's all built into the
New World Order.
Agenda 2030.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
all of the different things. What's like?
Is there
there's so
anything
many
good in
different
it for
things
us?
For us,
Not
Like-
a thing.
Is there ever?
If you go through them all, they've kind of ticked
Ticking
off a
their
lot of
boxes.
them already. Like a one world government, the end of nations, a one world army, a one world police force, the end of the family unit. You could see that with the last referendum
last
in
referendum,
era there.
A lot of sense spoken.
One world
actually.
central bank, one world cashless currency, the end of all private property. We had that with the last 39th Amendment, where they were trying to come in on the property rights, the right to housing bill. You know, the world depopulation and fertility control. We can see that happening around us already.
I don't know if you know, but in there's a thing called the Diabolical Agenda, a film in Africa. They actually vaccinated against tetanus, which is what you get if you get a dirty wound, which you might well do farming. But it wasn't a tetanus vaccination. They sterilised the entire population.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just absolute. It's
and
abject
you wonder what
cruelty.
they've been doing. You'd wonder what they've been doing, especially in these countries, like European countries. if you go around my town there, or near, I'm sure any town in Ireland, probably the same in the UK, Francis, that it seems to be all you see is like, and this is not like, I'm not racist or anything, but all you see is coloured children. You see Pakistani women and men walking around with fucking 6 and 7 kids, black people walking around, but you see the white Irish person or the English person, and they're afraid to have children. Because it's going to ruin their future, or, you know, I'm too young to have children, and they're in their 40s, you know. Yeah. And this is the mentality that's
everyone's got kind of caught out in a way, in many ways, but and that's what this man said to me, who I met, he was fined by the Charities Regulatory Board because 300,000, they all received a bill because they'd crowdfunded to run soup kitchens in Dublin. And they'd got them all closed, all 35 they'd got closed by Paddy's Day.
Over the last few months, the last year, they were closing down.
Are you going to just say one more of those lists, or should we just stop there?
You can shut it down and we'll come on to more.